office hour session. We do this every Monday at the same time, literally as a walkthrough of Designrr, where I take you through creating a book from scratch and show you some of the key features and obviously an opportunity for you to ask questions, okay, on anything you're doing in particular. So we start off with just some basic housekeeping, and that is I'll just show you like where to get help, resources and things like that. And also these recordings. So these are recorded every week and they're uploaded into the Facebook group, and they're also uploaded into our support knowledge base. So you can see me logged in here. You can click on the question mark on the top here to get access to all the resources. Okay, so the Learning Center here is where all the tutorials and documentation and everything is, and all the replays get uploaded at the bottom here. Okay, so if you miss one week, you can go and grab that. Okay, I recommend that you join the Facebook group. Okay, so you can click on that link and join the Facebook group. You can get peer support from there as well. The YouTube channel has a ton of video content. If you have an idea or some sort of feature request or something like that, then the give feedback option enables you to do that. So you can feed back into our roadmap, and then sort of our product manager will then go through that, and get ideas from customers and everything on how to develop the app. So bear in mind, this app has been driven, strategically by me, obviously, but also from our customers since 2016. Okay, so we've got a huge customer base now, 400,000 customers using the app, and all the everything you see really has come from ideas and features from them, as well as my ideas, of course. So the last thing here is just record your screen. So if you're hitting an issue in support and you need some help and you're struggling, it could be a bug, right? Then record your screen and send us the link to that recording, because it's the fastest way to turn around issues, okay? Especially if it's a bug, because we can send that same recording to our developers and they can recreate it quickly and turn around a fix, okay? So that's that, right? The bell icon is when we release new features, then we'll pop a little notification bell here, and you can see all the features that have been released. And of course, you just get those delivered to you, on a rolling basis. There's normally about 2 or 3 a month in terms of releases that we put out. Okay, so the main areas. So this is like the dashboard, right? So you can get to this by clicking home, and this is where you can get started with anything. We're going to cover this menu here on the left, but just in terms of some basics, this area here, these are like shortcuts, okay? So if there's something you want to do, so you want to import a Google Doc, for example, you just go straight to it from here, okay? And you can scroll across, and there's some more shortcuts, along the right-hand side over here, okay? But what we're going to do is just cover off some things in this menu. So starting with the projects, okay, so obviously these are the projects that you're working on at the moment, right? And you can just click on any of these to open them up. But I want to draw your attention to this menu here under these 3 dots. So these 3 dots, this is called a kebab menu, funny enough, in the tech world, all right? And so, you open up the kebab menu, and you get lots of options to do with that project, okay? So depending on the plan you're on, but if you're on a pro plan and above, you can create covers, as in 3D covers, right? So you can just click on that, and whatever project you're on, it will take that cover that's already been designed and then turn that into a 3D cover, okay? And you can then just download that and upload that to your website. Other things you can do here is open up the PDF if it's been generated. If it's not been generated, then it will just go and create it. Let me just see if I've got one that's already been done. Just to save some time. No, I haven't. Maybe all of these need refreshing. Let's just do that in the background anyway. So you can access from there, the PDF link, right? You can also access flipbooks and the 3D cover creator and obviously other things like duplicating projects and things like that. So if you're working on a project, I highly recommend you duplicate it, because what if you choose a design and you go down a certain direction, sometimes you think, oh no, this design is not for me, I want to try another design. And so it helps duplicating, because then you have some sort of version control, on your projects. So anyway, this is just obviously this doesn't look pretty because this is obviously just a demo book, but just to show you can open up that PDF like that. You can also open it up as a flipbook like this. And a flipbook, has this page turning effect like that. Okay. And you can share that link with other people, right? And they can, browse the PDF like this as a flipbook, or there's some options down here at the bottom, where they can download it, the actual PDF itself. So it's a good way of sharing your ebook with people, right? Because it's a lightweight. You're just sending the link. Okay. Right. So so that's the project main menu. Okay. And that's really those three things are the most important things I just wanted to bring to your attention. Let me have a quick look. Some questions coming in. Rain is saying, so we can only share a link. I like to download the video every time I try to download it as a pic, not a video. It's not a video. We don't download videos. You just download a flipbook, but the flipbook's on a link. Yeah, because it's not because you need code to run it, right? To generate that effect. So yeah, you need to just share the link. It's not a video at all. Okay, Frank's asking about the AI. Don't worry, we'll get to that. Frank, no problem. Okay, so that's the projects, and obviously you can sort projects, manage them into folders and things like that. Okay, now the docs section is probably the most important area. Okay, so imagine the docs is where your manuscript lives. Okay, it's where the main document, with you've uploaded something, you've created it using AI, using Wordgenie, you've imported a Word document, whatever it is, it lives here in the docs. And this is where you get your, docs perfectly correct, okay? Because you want to get them to a state where, you don't want to change any content before you go into the actual design side of things, okay? So, for example, if let's just see if there's one of these. We'll go into this one. So I know it's past Christmas, but I had this open. So this is, a document I created called Quick and Festive Seasonal Decorations for Busy Parents, right? And so, this is like a word processor. It's like Word or Google Docs or whatever. It's really simple editor. You can edit whatever you want. It's very clean. And so, you can go through this and just edit content. You can write content, whatever you want. Okay. But the key thing is to make sure that you get your content perfect here, right? Before you go into the fancy design stuff, right? Because, once you get your content set up here, then you can move that, you can copy that content into multiple designs, right? So, if you create an ebook, using one design and decide you don't like it, it's fine. You can just come back to this, create another one, and so on. Okay, so think of this as like your master. And a couple of things you need to make sure that you've got correct. So first of all, the structure. So every document, has a structure in terms of a title, right? The book title, it has chapter headings and it has subheadings, okay, or subchapters or sections, right? So that's like the hierarchy. And, a title of a book in documentation terms, so like if you're using Word or Google Doc or Designer, use heading notation, okay? So a title of the book is a H1, a heading 1, right? Because it's the top of the tree. A chapter heading is heading 2, right? Because it's the second one down in the hierarchy. And a section heading is a heading 3. Okay, and so the first thing you should do is go through and check that your chapters like this are set up as an H2. Okay, and you do that by just clicking on this kebab menu to the left here, right, and selecting heading 2, right. If you need to change it, you can just click on it and select something else. Okay, but make sure all your chapter headings are set to a heading 2, right? And then if you're doing section headings, you want to make sure that they are set up to a heading 3. Okay, so your first job really is to go through and just check, right, that's a section heading, let's make that an H3, good. Okay, check that this is an H3, good, and just go and change if need be, and just make sure everything's set up in a hierarchy like that. And the reason for that is because, you notice there's no page numbering here. Okay, it's just one fluid document. But when you take this content and then move it into the design, that's when all the pagination happens. Okay, so it starts laying out the content according to the template you've chosen, according to the font that's with the template, or you might change the font. Okay, but what it will do is it will obviously number all the pages for you, and it will create a table of contents. Okay, and it will create the table of contents based on the fact that it knows which chapter headings, where your chapter headings are and what your section headings are. Okay, so it'll do all that automatically as long as you do the setup here. Okay, and that's how you can get this working. All right, so other things you can do while you're in here, right? So first of all, you can rewrite content. So let's say I've got this paragraph here, and I don't like the way it's written, and obviously I can write it myself, or I can use Wordgenie. So I can click on Wordgenie here and I can rewrite the content just in a different way, or I can ask it to get specific and adjust the tone, right? Make it a bit more excited, right? And it will just rewrite that paragraph, okay, using a little bit more enthusiasm, okay? And then off you go. And you can also get it to, reduce or expand paragraphs as well, okay? Now, the other thing you can do is get it to create content, right? So all you do is press enter to get a new line, right? And then the menu now changes to a plus because you're going to add something. And so now I'm going to click on plus and go to Wordgenie generate, and I'm going to just ask it to do something. Okay, so I'm just going to say, write, 5 tips on creating DIY snowflakes. Okay, something like that. Okay, so then, it will go and do that for me. And then all I need to do then is click insert, and it will put it in the content just like that. And all you need to do then is just modify the prompt a bit, say here are, okay, 5 tips on creating DIY snowflakes. Yeah. And it's just created that list for you, just like that. Okay. So that's how you can get it to add content into there, and rewrite content. The other thing you can do while you're here is add images. So let me just find some text that doesn't have an image. Just zoom down a bit. Oh, no, there's images throughout this thing. All right, so let's just take this area here. Okay, so let's say I want to put an image in here. Obviously I can upload my own images, that's easy. But to use an image from our own collection, okay, you literally open up the kebab menu again, click on image, and what it'll do, first of all, it'll scan that paragraph for you, come up with 3 keywords and run a search over Unsplash. Okay, so Unsplash is a repository of millions of images that are all royalty free. Okay, so you're free to use these without attribution, and you don't have to pay for them. Okay, so this is a quick search. It will do. You can modify the search, right? Type in different keywords and things like that. But if you like an image that works, for your content, then you just literally click on it, and it just puts it in the content, just like that. Okay. And so then you can resize it, adjust it, etc. Don't at this stage, don't try and word wrap it or worry about layout or anything like that, because that's all going to be done in the next section when you go into the design, right? At the moment, just get images in there, okay, and do it like that. Now, the other thing you can do, if you're on a premium plan, you can use AI images, okay? So again, you go to images like this, and instead of choosing one of these, you go across here to Wordgenie, okay? And these are AI images, right? So now click on generate, and it will generate a collection of AI images that match those keywords for you, okay? So these are all unique images that have been generated on the fly, okay, based on craft, decor, and kids, okay. So any of these, that probably looks a bit, the wording looks a bit wrong there, capped, but I'd say any of these are pretty good, right, to use in my content, okay. And those are AI images. Now I just want to give you a warning about AI images, and that is with people, okay? So something to watch for. Let me just look at some previous images that I've generated. So these are some previous images, right? And I want to show you a couple of things that you need to be careful of when you get people. So the AI image generator is very powerful. It creates some very good photorealistic images, right? But it does make mistakes. And what those mistakes always seems to be around fingers and limbs, okay? So what you need to do is, whenever you have an image like this, is like count fingers are correct, check that the arms are linked, okay? And so, for example, here, it looks like this child has only got 3 fingers, okay? All right, so that's what you have to look out for, okay? I mean, it's improving every day, right? And the imagery is still very good. Like that one's obviously, a bit weird too, okay? So just be wary of that and check any images where it is generating an image based on people. Then you just need to count and just check and look for things like that. Okay, this one looks perfect though to me, right? And then that's it. Insert it, right? Timo or Themo is asking which AI is it. So we use something called Flux. Flux is the what I think so far state of the art in terms of image generation. Okay, and we run it on a set of servers that are very, very fast. That's why we can generate these images like really, really quickly. Okay. Laurie is asking, can I automate the process of adding images across a book, or do I need to add them individually? So that we are working on that, Laurie. Okay. At the moment, you have to do them individually, right? We're working on a system, where we can do a lot of it automatically. There's pros and cons with that, because often the images that we might select might not suit you, right? Or might not suit what you would choose, so there's a little bit of tuning that needs to be done when we do this sort of stuff, okay? Because we don't want to like generate a ton of images that you get a really bad impression, okay? So we're working on a way of getting that set up, okay? All right, let me just quickly check the chat. Barbara's asking about my volume. Is my volume good for everyone? My voice, all my settings are exactly the same, so it shouldn't make any difference. Okay. So Charlene saying, I created a flipbook and now want to revise it. How to revise it using Designrr content and add images. So if you created a flipbook using Designrr from content, from scratch, then all you need to do is go in and edit that content, regenerate the PDF, and that will generate the flipbook again. Yeah, so you can just publish that again. No, there's no copyright images using AI. They're all generated from scratch. Oh, Charlene saying, I created the PPT, turned it into a PDF, and then uploaded the content. Yeah, no. What I would do is I'll go back to that PPT and like save it as a Google Doc or a Word doc and import the content from there. Yeah. And work from that first. You know what I mean? You know, because once it's in a PowerPoint sort of presentation, it's kind of in a fixed format, you know? And so once you're in a fixed format and you convert it to a PDF, which is even more fixed format, then to try and modify that, it gets pretty tough. Okay, Max is asking about templates. Going to get to that, Max. Give me 1 second, check up to all the questions. Okay, all right, let's move on to that then. Okay, so so let's assume this is my content, right? Oh, actually, before I do that, before I go on to templates, let me just make sure you all know how to get this far, okay? Get some content in. So as I said, you can import content, right, from other sources. So what I'll do, I'll just show you, is a Google Doc, right? And I'll import this Google Doc, okay? And the way to do it is you click on Share. And in the share box, what you want to make sure, oh great, I'm signed out. Let me just log in. For some reason I got signed out. All right, start again. Here we go. All right, so this is my Google Doc, and what you do to import it, you click on Share, right? And by default, this is what you need to watch for. By default, it will show as restricted, okay? And what you need to do is just change that to anyone with the link, okay? And then you can copy that link, right? So that's in your clipboard now. So when you go to Designrr, right, and you import from the Google Doc, you just paste that link in here like this, and then click on Add, and then it'll start importing, right? And then it will save it to the doc section, okay? So then you can click on Next, and then what you can do then is then revise that content, okay? So here's the content imported. This is my Google Doc, right? And now I'm sort of in the doc section. I'm in here, and I go through the process like I showed you. I can add Wordgenie content, rewrite content, check the chapter headings are H2 and H3s and things like that, okay? And all that sort of stuff. All right. You can also create content using Wordgenie, but that's really simple. That's literally just going through the wizard. If you need me to show you that, I can show you that, but that's probably the easiest part. Let me just check these questions 1 second. So Timos is saying, in the doc section, is Wordgenie able to correct text like ChatGPT or Claude? So the API you use underneath all this is ChatGPT, okay? And you can do it like on a paragraph basis. You can't redo the whole doc, but you can do it like here. So for example, here I just want to rewrite this paragraph, and it will rewrite it, fixing any grammar or anything else like that. Okay. Frank is asking if using the AI for extra content, I'll have to go from my document, not from the project. Yeah. So this is where you want to add content using AI or not, or whatever, or write. Get everything perfect here before you do anything else. Okay. So Joe is asking, I have a 64-page ebook in progress. Okay. Is your recommendation to shift it to docs to do all the editing and then turn it into an ebook, or continue writing it in an ebook creator? So like if you're writing it right now in, let's say, Google Doc or a Word doc, then there's no reason to pull it in and finish editing here. You might as well just finishing editing in what you're most comfortable with. Yeah. But you know, if you're using a Word document, Google Doc, don't do any page numbering or page breaks or anything like that yet. Okay. You just want a free flowing piece of content. Yeah. And, you know, in your Word doc, you know, or Google Doc, you know, you can set your heading 2s and your heading 3s and like that here as well. Okay. Just the same as I did in the doc section. So Laurie's saying, can I interweave some anecdotes into my book text, personalized texting in a quick and easy way? I mean, yeah, I mean, you should definitely do that. I mean, you literally just type away. So, you know, you just type, here is, you know, my anecdote, right? Oops, can't spell anecdote. Yeah, and it's important to do that, especially, you know, if you've, just a point on AI content, you know, if you've written something using Wordgenie or any AI content, right? Think about your end goal. Your end goal is to have a book that's, you know, really engaging for the reader, right? Because if it's engaging and it solves a problem and they get a takeaway from it, then they're going to come back for more. That's your ultimate goal, right? You want to make sure people read the book and enjoy it. Yeah. You're not publishing a book just for the publishing sake. Yeah. And so if you're writing using AI, you know, use AI as your tool, but don't publish it as finished. Yeah. You know, use AI to get your content like 90% of there, and then go through and add your own anecdotes, you know, as Laurie said, or your own perspectives. Maybe rewrite some paragraphs to make them a bit more jovial, or, you know, whatever. What you really want to do is ensure that the content is interesting and engaging, you know, because the AI will write great content. It will be technically good, but will it have personality? Probably not. Okay. And so, you know, you want to ensure that, you know, you make the book relatable, have personality, you know, and that way it becomes your book. You know what I mean? It's not an AI book, it's your book. And also then, you know, if you're publishing it to Amazon or some you know, some publishers say, is this an AI book? You don't have to check that box, right? Because it's your book. Yeah. You might have used AI to help you generate some of the content, but you've rewritten that, or, you know, added your perspective and made it your book. Okay. So, you know, take that on board, because it's important to get a book that people, you know, are interested in and read. Barbara's just saying, I missed the first 5 minutes. So we create in docs and then transfer to projects. Yeah. So get your content perfect in the docs, because you can create multiple projects from one doc. Okay. But once you start editing in the project, if you edit content in the project, in the design side, sorry, that content won't carry back to the content, to the docs. Okay. So one-way copy. Yeah. So that's why it's important to get it right here. So Dennis is saying, can you go from docs to ebook during editing? Does that make sense? Yeah, but just remember what I said, right? So your docs stays the master. Yeah. So get that finished. I mean, you can have a practice run, of course, right? But keep your master here, okay? And that way, then you can keep going. So yeah, Tarai. So exactly my point, right? So Tarai saying, is it Tarai? Oh, Tara, sorry. I've made changes in my book. Can I go back to a doc from edit? So not really, no. That's what I'm saying. It's a one-way street. Petra, I'll show you. Petra's asking about, she's creating an online magazine. You're having trouble changing images. I'll show you how to get into that. Okay. Mike is saying, can we talk to text? Not directly, Mike. You can record, you can record your content and import it. If you have a premium plan, you can import it and it will transcribe it for you, but it won't do it on the fly. So Nancy is saying, so should we ensure the content in a PPT is right before we save it to Word or Doc before we import it? I mean, ultimately, you want to make sure the Word doc is perfect before you import it, or do it here, because there's going to be something lost in the translation from a PPT to a Word doc, right? Dennis is asking a great question, but a difficult one to answer. So Dennis saying, my manuscript in Word has footnotes at the bottom of some pages, and some specific page breaks that are formatted. It's important that these footnotes remain at the bottom of the right page. So Dennis, it's not like, this is not going to work for you like that, right? Because when you import from a doc, from a Word doc, it's going to just pull out the pure content, right? It ignores pagination and things like that. Because when you go into the design side, the pagination changes depending on the design, right? So if you have a large font, you have more pages. You have a smaller font, you have less pages, for example. Yeah. If you have more images, you have more pages. So everything changes in the design. Yeah. And ultimately, it depends like where you're taking that. So if you've got, if your manuscript in Word is really laid out to that degree, yeah, then you might as well, and depending on where you want to publish it, if you want to publish it on Amazon or something, then I would just upload that Word document to Amazon direct, right? And ignore any design. Yeah. I know I'm telling you not to use Designrr, but like if you're, Designrr's really designed for designing books, right? But if you're designing your Word doc, your layout is so specific that it can't move, yeah, then you're better off uploading that statically as it is. Yeah. All right. Let's just get moving on this so that we can just save some time because we're going to run out pretty quick. So I'm just going to go back to my docs, okay, and we're going to use this this one I was showing you earlier. So I know we're past Christmas, but I haven't got anything else right now. So let's use this one, right? So let's go and choose a template. Okay, so two things. First of all, think about where you're going to publish to. Are you going to create a PDF style book with lots of layout, design? It's going to look really, really pretty and professional. Or are you going to publish to Kindle, right? Because if you're going to publish to Kindle, Kindle has no design, right? Kindle is just pure text. So if you're going to publish to Kindle, then just choose the Kindle template. Okay, just type in the word Kindle and then choose this template, right? And then you'll see the template is very, very clean, very simple, and it's just text-based. Okay. And you know, the reason for that is Kindle has no design inherently in it. Okay. It's just, you know, really simple layout, right? And it's just pure content. You can still have images, okay, in the content, but the images will be just between, you know, paragraphs. Yeah. You can't do things like word wrap and things like that, right? So if you're going to publish to Kindle, you just import it into that Kindle template, okay? And then again, there's no pages, there's no page numbering for Kindle, all right? So then you literally click on publish like that, and click on Kindle ePub export, okay? So that's if you're doing Kindle. So let me go back now and take that same doc. Remember, this is the advantage of using docs. You know, I can go back into that same doc, and this time I'm going to choose a different template because I'm not going to do Kindle. So this time I'm going to just change to A4. So this is where I can change the size of my book, right? A4, you know, letter, whatever. Most people will be choosing A4 or letter, right, depending on your Europe or US, okay? And if you're doing print, so Designrr's not really designed for print, okay? But if you are going to try and do it with print, then choose 6:9 format, which is the most common book size. Okay, so let's just choose A4. Now these are all the templates. I'm going to unselect these themes just so that we can see all the templates available. Okay. So these are all the templates I've got. Now, fundamentally, there are two types, okay? There's a very fast, simple style that has, you know, a cover design and a back cover, and the text design. Sorry, it's not that one. Find a simpler one. Let's try this one. Okay, that has, you know, a cover, a back cover, right? You know, and layout in between, right? But it's very simple, right? And it's fast, and a lot of people are very happy with this type of format. So these are our standard templates. And we also have something called Pro templates, and with the Pro template, you have a much more complex layout structure. Okay, so let's go back to like this one called The Truth About Caffeine. Okay, you know, it's got like 4 different covers. Okay, and the thing to remember about covers and layouts and things like that is all the imagery can change. Okay, so the photos that you see here can be switched out for your own photos. Okay, so those are the covers options, and then within the text itself, okay, you got the single column format. Okay, so all the text the traditional way. You've got like a 2-column format where the text is on the left, right? You've got another 2-column format where you've got the text on the left and an image on the right. Remember, these images are just placeholders. Okay. You've got another one here with the 2-column with the image on the left, right? And so on. Okay. And so the page layout is quite sophisticated. Yeah. And so it means you can rotate different layouts within the same book. And that's what makes it really, really look professional. Okay. And so you can browse these templates like that and think, okay, that one's not for me, and go and choose another one. Okay. And the thing is, when choosing a template, don't get hung up on the niche you're in, right? So don't think, you know, I'm just doing, you know, if I'm doing a kitchen design book, right, then I have to find, you know, a template on kitchen designs. It's not like that. It's about with the style of the template will look good for you. Okay. And so, you know, you click on one of the templates and do you like the style? Don't worry about the images because the images will change, okay, according to whatever you're doing. But, you know, do I like a book that has, you know, these elements in it. So this has got plant style elements. Okay, so this particular template, you know, might work well for anyone doing some sort of home guide, decorating, maybe gardening, anything like that. Okay, would work well for this. All right. If I'm doing something, you know, really strong, maybe a bit younger, then I can choose one of these, for example, like orbs or luminous. So luminous is, you know, a very dynamic template. It's got these big swirls, you know, these orange and blue swirls. You know, everything's white on sort of a dark blue, purple background. Lots of swirl designs and things like that. So, you know, this will work really well. Maybe a, you know, a corporate type, you know, a young company, you know, newsletter, something like that, would work really, really well for this. Okay. So quick look at the questions. Okay, I'll come back to that. So, you know, my point is that, you know, when looking at templates, look for what the style is going to look like for you. Okay, and will the style fit? Now, a lot of these templates are pro templates. They're not available to everyone. Like if you're on a standard plan, you won't get all of these, but you'll certainly get, you know, some of them. So I think Grit, Silk, like Silk is one of my favorites actually. Silk is very universal. Yeah. So you've got lots of different covers. Okay. And it's got this like this portal type shape. Okay. Where your image will go. Right. And I'll show you how to set that up. And then each page has still got lots of nice graphical elements on it. Okay. In fact, let's use this one, you know, for my book. Okay. So all you do is click on use template and then give it a few moments and then it will go, you know, and then pull out that content from the doc, pull out that template and start merging them together. Okay. And then as it's doing that, it starts doing the layout. It starts looking at, you know, where your table of contents should go, page numbering, you know, all that kind of stuff. Okay. And then, you know, it's finished. So it's put my title in for me. Okay. This is a subtitle. I can change it obviously to whatever I want. My author name, I could just change that. Okay. And then as I scroll through, you know, it's done my table of contents for me with my page numbering, everything all laid out. Close that. And then here's my first chapter heading, and it puts a new chapter on every page, chapter heading on every page. Okay. And then it starts going through the actual content itself. All right. So you on the right here, you've got this page navigator. So you can zoom through your whole book, you know, and go to different pages. And, you know, if you can see this, you can see it's changed the page layouts throughout the book, okay, to make the whole design really pop, you know, and look interesting. And so all you need to do now, because your content is perfect, right, all you need to do is think about image layout and things like that. So this page here, this image, although it's a pretty AI image, it's a bit big, right? And so, you know, I think I'll just shrink that a bit. And so I can just grab it at the bottom here and then shrink it like that. And then, you know, by doing that, I've created this space, right, which needs filling. And, you know, so really I want this content here, this paragraph here to move up. Okay. And so what I can do is just click on that paragraph and then click this double arrow here called repaginate. Okay. And it will pull, if there's space, it will pull the next paragraph up for you. Okay. Like that. And so then all I need to do is just go through like that and, you know, start, you know, adjusting content, you know, as I want. Now, a couple of tips. When I get to, you know, some pages which are just lots and lots of content, like this one, I can switch the layout, the style of that page to another one in the template. So I select these 4 dots, okay, and then maybe I'll select one of these pages where it's 2 column instead of 1 column, okay. So it's put my list here on the left, yeah, and it's given me a placeholder here for images. So what I can do then is click on this image or the placeholder, right? Go across to the left and click Change Image. And first of all, any images that I've uploaded are all here, right? And any suggested images are here under Suggested Images. And all it's done is run a search over Unsplash, okay, for a word that it's picked out of here, okay, which might not be appropriate, all right? So, perhaps I want something more, like Christmassy. I can just type in the word like that, Christmas, okay? And it knows the orientation of this image, and so it's only giving me images that, are of the same orientation, okay? And then I just choose an image like this, and then it just pops it into the book for me like that, okay? And then if I don't like it, I can just go across and click Change Image and choose another one. So your job then really is to go through and switch page styles to make it more interesting, change images. If you've got an image here and you think, no, I don't like that image, click on it, change the image for something else, right? And then it'll put it straight in for you. So that's the main task, right? Now, a couple of other things I want to show you. First of all, with fonts, okay, and changes to the book. Now, if I want to change, for example, let's say I want to change this font, and let me show you where the fonts are on the left here. So this font is called Noto Son JP, right? And let's say I want to change my font for my book. So at the moment I've got this paragraph selected. So if I make a change here, okay, it will change that paragraph, right? Great, but that's not what I want. I want to change everything, okay? So, what I need to do is, let me just change it back again. I keep that selected, and this time I click on Make Changes to All Elements at the top. And now I'll go and make my change, okay, to, I'll change it to this ugly one just to demonstrate. So now when I change to Archivo Black, all the fonts change in the whole book, okay? And so that way then I can make global changes, and that applies to things like colors, spacing, all sorts of things like that. So I'm gonna change that just back to something a bit more fun, well, a bit more realistic rather than let's say we change to Montserrat, okay? Okay, so that's how you can do that, and I can change the color like that, spacing, things like that. So let's say, for example, the spacing between these paragraphs is too broad. So if I go down to the bottom here, you can see spacing, margin, bottom margin is set to 25 points. Okay, so that's the spacing in between those 2 paragraphs. Now, it's too big, okay, so I want to make it smaller. So all I need to do is make changes to all elements is on, yeah, and then just reduce that margin. You can see my text moving up like that, okay. Okay, and so once I've done that, then I'll probably just want to repaginate again just to shift stuff around, and make sure that any text that can be moved will be moved, okay. If I end up with a title here which is orphaned from the next page, I can just grab it like that and drag it down, okay. All right, let's let me quickly scan through the questions here. So Mr. Hussein is saying, from importing from docs, Can we import a full chapter written by me, for example? So you can import. So in the doc section, you can merge docs together, right? So that's what I'd suggest you do. So you have like your main doc, and let's say you want to insert another chapter, then insert that into another doc, and then click on the merge, and then it'll merge the whole thing together. Rain is saying, what does the A stand for? I didn't see the A. Rain, so Rain is saying, so we can produce a paperback here on Designrr that we publish through Amazon or the different platforms. I mean, there are plenty of other platforms, and you know, basically, you can export your PDF, right? And as long as they support PDF, then you can send it to them. ES is saying, Happy New Year. I have some images with maths formulas in docs. This is possible with Designrr. If they're done, if the formulas are in an image, then just add the image in, right? Just wherever you want. So just go to images, and upload your images. You don't have to do it here. You can do it in the Media Manager too. Sakil is saying, I'm 8 hours ahead of you. How long is this tutorial? Well, we're about to finish. We've got 7 minutes left, Sakil. Tara is saying, I'm downloading to print through Amazon, but it needs 72 pages and I only have 62. So what I would suggest then is add some images. You know, images make pages, right? So add some images into your doc, and that way it will pad it out to 72. And don't forget, if you're doing, don't forget there are other pages like in your book. You know, obviously you've got, you know, your table of contents and stuff like that, but you need a copyright page. You'll need a page that says like an about the author, yeah, which is basically who am I and why should you listen to me? Okay, that's the way you should think about it, and things like that. David is saying, it looks like all the paragraph alignments are left aligned. How do I make the text right aligned like you would in Word? So there's 2 places. So this is left aligned, this text. Yeah. But if you want to change it, then again, go to here. This is the alignment tool. So if you want to do it centered, right, aligned like that, or justified, then you can do it there. Okay. Mike saying, can you upload templates from other sources? No, you have to do this directly here. They're very, very custom to Designrr. Nancy's just asking about word wrap. So what you can do, if I make this image smaller, then I can just pull my image into it like that, and then go to word wrap, and it does it like that. Okay, so make your image small enough to fit in the paragraph. Okay, and then excuse me, drag it into the paragraph, right, and then click on word wrap. Amy's saying, how can I edit the content table to show all the chapters on one page? So you probably just want to shrink the font if you've got it overrunning, you know, to more than one page. Just change the font to something smaller. And can I change the colors of the cover page of the format? Sure. Just click on. I mean, you can't change the design elements, right? So like this, see this blue here, these are image design. These are designed by our designer, right? You can't change the colors of those per se. Yeah. If you want to like create a template sort of very custom to you, then use plain vanilla and then tweak that from there, and then you can make copies of plain vanilla. Amy's saying, can we get more than 12 chapters? Oh, do you mean from the AI tools only generating a max of 12? Not per se. I mean, no. I mean, it will generate like 10 or 12 chapters normally. It won't generate automatically anymore. If you want to create more, then just add your own. Yeah, that's what I'd suggest. Raina's saying A6. Oh, you're saying Raina. So in terms of the like A4, like A4, A5 are just sizes of paper. Okay, it's just the international standard for paper sizes. That's what A4 means. Amy, can we upload from a Google document? Yeah, I just did that at the beginning, Amy. Maybe watch the replay. Yes, this session will go up onto Facebook. Joe is suggesting about increasing pages. Yeah. TOC, copyright, about author, summary, acknowledgements. Absolutely, Joe. Max, I've learned so much in such a short time. Awesome. Amy saying, how can we expand the size of the paragraph? So do you mean the text? You mean the actual text or the physical size? I mean, you can physically adjust the size here. But if you mean the text, then use Wordgenie. I think do we have Wordgenie on here? No. Yeah. Just see if there's a rewrite function with Wordgenie here. Yeah. So you can expand the text here by highlighting the text and clicking on the Wordgenie icon, which is right at the end there. That's one option, assuming that's what you want. Is there any guidance on copyright or a template? Do you mean the copyright text, Barbara? Not sure what you mean there. Joyce, is it possible to embed a link in some texts? Yeah. So if you want to put a link in, you just literally highlight it, like that. Okay. And then click the link icon here. Okay. And you can make a link. You can type in, whatever the link is there. Max is saying, can we do more tech templates? So Max, remember me saying it's not about, we're moving away from niche specific templates to more design led. So if you're doing something tech, then you might want something more bold. Yeah. More sort of black and white, blue and white, something like that. And then what makes it a tech template is the imagery. Barbara, your copyright text. Honestly, Barbara, just Google it. Honestly, the copyright text, there'll be tons of examples of that. It's very, very standard type stuff. Amy, can you talk more about copywriting our books and why and how? I mean, you can't. I mean, if you're thinking of just protecting your content, there's not a lot. I mean, obviously you put the copyright paragraphs and everything else, as a page in your book, okay, and that'll spell out your copyright terms, etc. But you know, if you're worried about someone actually, you know, downloading it and plagiarizing it, it's very difficult to protect that, because if they're determined to do that, they're going to do it anyway, right? So then your only real protections, you know, is things like, you know, you can mail the copy of your book like printed to a lawyer, so it's all time stamped and everything, and then, you know, in the future if someone copies or whatever, then you have a case to take an action against them. But, you know, bear in mind that taking action in itself is very expensive. Coach Fusco saying, well, I find definition of the different tones, such as educational and informative. Yeah, like it's what the AI thinks. Okay, it's not a definition. It's what the AI thinks is a more informative way of writing. What I suggest is you just go and play with it. You know, maybe you have the same paragraph duplicated in the doc section. You know, and then for each one, just rewrite them into each of those tones and then see what it looks like. You know, it's a good question, actually. Maybe I should do that in the help. Mr. Hussein, where did you get the ribbon when you did the link? So this ribbon, so if you highlight any word here, okay, then this ribbon appears, right? It's important to understand that if you want to change the font of something, okay, and you want to change it for the whole book, right, you always make sure the whole paragraph is selected before going to make changes to all elements, okay? If you just want to change a word, like just say this word here, I want to change that to bold, I just double click on it and it highlights it like that, changes it to bold, okay? But this ribbon won't work with make changes to all elements, okay? It's only when you select the whole paragraph that will happen, okay? Annie saying, could we use Designrr to create a cookbook and publish it on Amazon Kindle? Yeah, of course you can. Mike saying, so we can put links in our flipbooks, that's cool, and could include QRC. Yep, absolutely, you can do that. Oh, did you see adding writing in the style of author? So you can do that like in the doc section when you remember saying, so you can't rewrite content in the style of an author using our tools. You can paste in, you know, the content in Wordgenie Generate and say, please rewrite this in the style of Mark Twain. Okay, you can do that, if that makes sense. Okay. Amy saying, can we change the voice after the whole book is written? Not really, Amy. You'd have would we lose the previous version if you change it? How can I keep both? So I mean, you can do it paragraph by paragraph, okay. And if you want to keep versions, just duplicate your docs, okay. That's really easy. So you can have multiple docs, as many versions as you want. Just create, you know, just duplicate it and then work on the second one. Yeah. Yes, it's saying if you have an ebook or a flipbook in 3 languages and you want the same format, is it like having 3 projects? Yes. Although I would, you know, do your 2 translations, okay, or your 3 languages, have them as 3 different docs, right? Because you don't want to be translating in this tool. This is the design tool, and this will take. It's a lot more work. I mean, yes, you can edit anything, right? But it's a lot more work doing it in a design tool than doing it in the doc editor, you know? Barbara's saying, what's the best text format and size for use on smartphone, or does it adjust? If you're publishing to Kindle, it doesn't matter because Kindle will take care of all that. Okay. I would for smartphone, honestly, I'll just stick to your normal, like, this is a good size here that we're using. So this size is, what are we using? 16 point. I mean, it might be a bit big actually, but between like 14 or 16 points, because remember on smartphones, people zoom anyway, not many people read it as is. Amy's saying, would Designrr give us receipts for a cookbook? Where can we get photos and images for the recipes? Well, so like if you're doing a cookbook, you can search for images of relevant things, right? So I don't know, a cake or something, or baking, whatever. But obviously, some imagery would be very specific to what the cookbook's about. Yeah. I guess you could do it using the AI image generator. You could probably, if you give it a good prompt, you could do it that way. Be careful about the recipes, though. Make sure the recipes. Oh, that's what he meant, not receipts. Recipes. So what you could do, you can get recipes from the AI. Okay. So if I went into here, right, and let's say I want to create a new doc. Okay. So this is completely blank now. Then you could ask Wordgenie to create a recipe for soda bread. Include the ingredients. Include an ingredient list, in metric, for example. Amy, you're putting me to the test here. Here we go. All right. So there you go. Okay. So soda bread. So you do it like this, and then you'd start just putting your images in, right? So you can do an AI one, soda bread. Oops. Okay. I don't know what soda bread looks like, but oh, did I click it? Did not click it. Here we go. All right. And then you could say, what are the ingredients? All-purpose flour. You could do an image for flour and stuff like that. You could do an image for mixing, turning out. You could do an image for turning dough out on a flour surface. Maybe another image for how to knead, do that kind of stuff. You get it? So it's a good question, Amy, because I'd have never thought to do this, but yeah, you could do that, right? And then, you know, what I would do if you're doing a recipe book, right, then do a separate doc for each one, okay? You know, edit this up to add a bit more personality and a few more images, but do separate docs, all right? So you have one doc for each recipe, yeah? And then at the end, yeah, what you can do is merge them all. So you can click on this one, and then let's assume this is a recipe here. To click on this, yeah, and then down here is a merge docs. Okay, so then you can merge all your recipes together, and you'll probably want to do your intro text and stuff like that separate as well. So then you can merge the whole thing into one, and then move it into the design tool. Okay. All right, everyone, we should really wrap it up because I've gone way past the hour. Quick question from Mike. Can your ebook include embedded videos? So Mike, PDFs don't have any, you know, PDF is invented by Adobe, right? It's an international standard. And you can't embed a video that plays within that. You can embed a video. If you use the embed tool in Designrr, you know, there's actually a thing called embed video. It will take the thumbnail and put that in your PDF doc with the link to the video. Yeah. If you wanted to, if you wanted the image to the video to play, then we have a special format called live ebook. And so when you publish to live ebook, and that will give you like a flipbook, but it enables the video to play in the flipbook. Does that make sense? Okay. Mr. Hussein, merge, it's down here. So you select your docs, right? And then down here, little menu option here, says merge. Okay. Laurie's just saying, what will you cover next week? Laurie, to be honest, we cover a lot of the same ground because there's a lot of new people who come on every week. Okay. And then we go down a direction depending on what people want, right? So Amy's now given me a whole idea of how to do some training on creating recipe books. Okay. So who knew? Mike wants keto cookies, so we're going to do a keto recipe book. All right. Okay, everyone. Let's call it a day. I'll get these recordings uploaded to the Facebook group and into the knowledge base. All right, where you can watch the replays. Okay. Thanks for joining me this morning, and see you next week. All right. Take care.